on.
Sure.
So you're going to finish that cut, you think,
Yeah,
today?
finish that diagonal cut. We'll see how much I can get into it. You know, this piece.
How are you going to? You have a challenge when you go to clamp this.
Clamp it. Yeah.
Obviously, you can't let design, control too much in the light of clamping.
Honestly, I was thinking of using hand pressure and using a few gun nails.
Sure.
Just to hold it in, because the epoxy is going to be doing the work, you know?
Sure.
That's,
Looks like you got a score in that, huh?
That's the line.
Oh, that's the line.
I'm working
our way
towards
to the
that
line.
yeah.
Got it.
Yep.
Well, there it is.
All right.
All right. Good luck with that.
Thank you.
All right, how'd that go? Do you think you're ready?
No, it's going to take, I want to get it flat. So now it's time to,
Are you familiar with the idea of sawing in? Passing a saw blade through the cut.
yes.
You know you have to clamp the pieces so that they don't flex as you're passing the saw through the cut.
Okay. I am not sure I know.
Well, somehow you've got to clamp this piece here.
Oh, sawing in with the piece in place?
Rigidly. Putting this thing here.
Oh, and
passing
using
the saw
that
through
as...
the cut.
Oh.
Called sawing in.
Okay.
It's a technique we use on corner posts and things like that.
Okay.
And the thing is, you can't just put the two pieces of wood together. You've got to rigidly connect them.
Yeah.
So that the saw blade doesn't do that, whatever, whip staff thing.
Yeah.
But looks to me like two cuts, two passes through here with the, some, I don't know, you probably have a Chinese saw to do this with, right?
Uh-huh.
Or Japanese.
Yeah.
Looks like you're in range to get that, maybe, I would think 2 cuts.
2 cuts for this one?
2 cuts through the joint.
Okay.
Get this joint the way you want it.
Yep.
2 cuts through that, and...
Oh, wait, you're saying 1 cut and 1 cut?
No.
Oh.
Do this, take it apart,
Understand.
put it back together,
Okay.
do it again.
Clamping it.
I think you want to come up with some way to fill these 2 flutes, 2 pieces of dowel or something like that that you could tack brad nail into the flutes and clamp against them. Maybe a piece of dowel right here would do all you need.
Piece of dowel. Oh, you mean just throw a piece of dowel in that flute to clamp?
Yeah,
okay.
I mean it could
Yeah.
be a piece of pine, right? I mean,
Okay.
it doesn't much matter.
I certainly cut it close. I didn't give myself much wiggle room if I can't get it. I mean, that's by no means ideal. But I can't go any farther than that.
Cool. Well,
So, and that's going to fill fine. I'm not as worried about that joint because I am trying to...
well, the one that's really going to take weather is this one.
Yes.
And you also want to tune that so that you're at that height for that rib.
I want this to be perfectly tuned. This one, overfill of the epoxy and then fill that, a vertical joint like that is not going to be as noticeable, I would hope. I don't like that though. I can't work anything past that.
So,
I really
Anyway.
should have given myself more room here.
you know what? You never do.
Okay,
You just never do.
sure. Okay.
You get sassy, fat and sassy like me, and even when you know you should, you don't.
Okay. I can make that look clean
Of
enough.
course you can.
Okay.
Come up with some way to clamp that.
Sure.
That's next. All right.
Well, I'm in the shop alone, and I'm getting ready to fit this piece into that spot. For this project, I bought some System 3 epoxy a few years ago, and I found that I've used System 3 quite a bit when I lived on a couple of sailboats. I would have to mix up quite a bit of it for any of the sailboat repair work, any of the laminations and whatnot. And so when I bought this System 3 for doing carpentry, I found that it is definitely harder to mix than West System for small projects. System 3 is a 2-to-1 mix. If you're mixing a small amount, then it's hard to be too accurate unless you're using a scale. So I'm basically finding a reason to use up as much of the System 3 as I can before I switch over to West System. West System is a 5-to-1, but they have these pumps which are measured pumps, so you know that with the hardener you give it 1 pump and you give 1 pump of the epoxy, and you know that it's measured to a 5-to-1 accuracy. I have heard tell that someone was maybe questioning the amount of the glue budget on this project because he saw how much I was mixing up at a time, but honestly, you know, the stuff has been on the shelf for a few years and I'm really doing what I can to get rid of it. So almost ready here. I primed all of the wood first with an with a raw epoxy, and then I mixed in a filler. This used to be called micro balloons. This is a West System product. It's a 410 micro light. It makes a very easy to sand epoxy compared to other fillers. Supposedly there are actually small balloons that the epoxy surrounds, and it creates a matrix, and then when you're sanding it, you're essentially cutting through the balloons. You know, having used it myself, I will say that it definitely sands closer to wood than the epoxies, which is more like a harder plastic. So here we go. Here I'm going to sort of prime the mating surfaces on this.